Howdy y'all, Michael here. Today is Saturday, January 8th, 2021, and my wife is at a company function over at the Hilton nearby here, but we're in Grapevine, Texas, and I'm at the Bass Pro Shops. So come hang out with me. I'm still outside here, but that's the back side of the fireplace. Kind of open here. I guess it's to help get some fuel in there. You can feel the heat coming off this wall though. Come in the front door here. Lots of taxidermy in this place. They tell you where it was taken as well. This was 1993. Big old steer. And here's the other side of the fireplace. Feels nice. It's not really cold today, it's in the 50s, but always like a nice fire. Kind of reminds you of being in a big hunting lodge. And yeah, Bass Pro Shops, a lot of people have been to it, but this was the first one in the DFW metroplex of this type of store, this location right here. And since my wife is at a work function nearby, I figured this is a great place to kill all my time here. And you can kill a ton of time here. Easy. And we now have two Bass Pro locations in the DFW area. The other one is near, I want to say the Garland area. It's right there by Lake Ray Hubbard. It's Lake Ray Hubbard. And it's got a big wall windows where you can go out and see forever out there. And you'll see a lot of Cabela stuff out here as well. We had two Cabela's locations. One's near Alliance Airport in Fort Worth. And there's another one in Allen, Texas, and good little spread between the two. But those were built before Bass Pro and Cabela's combined together. So you'll see a lot of Cabela's equipment here, and you'll see a lot of Bass Pro equipment. Of course, you'll see anything related to outdoors out here. And you'll also see a lot of live fish here. These are Guadalupe bass at one of the entrances here by the ATV section. And I'm curious what's going on here because they don't have any ATVs. I'm wondering if they're going to replace this with something else. With all the fishing here, or the fish rather, they have tons of fishing equipment. And that's one big honking shark. Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. When I say they got fishing equipment, they have tons of fishing equipment. Rods for as far as the eyes can see. We got a fly shop here, including Orvis products. I did have an Orvis set of waders, and they were a nice set of waders there. But the entire shop just for fly fishing. I'm not aware of any good fly fishing areas here. I do know up in Oklahoma, like in Beaver's Bend and places like that, they have some pretty good fly fishing. So over there is a fly fishing shop, and all the rods I was showing you there. But you keep walking, and it just continues on and on and on. I wonder how many thousands of rods they have in this place. Okay, I gotta show you this one. I've never seen this. It's kind of pricey, $21. It's a 3D snake. And it's got a couple hooks on his belly. I've never seen a fish eat a snake, but it would not surprise me. They even have ducklings. What are they catching with this? So if you're ever having problems trying to find a specific bait or lure or lunker, you're gonna find it here. That's a big old fish. They do fishing demonstrations out here sometimes, but the lures that they're using, they had the hooks removed, so the fish will bite it and spit it right back out. Now, my friend Kelber got me into fishing, and Kelber passed away a few years ago, but he was a really good friend of mine. And one of the first baits that I would always use was the rooster tail. And the Wardens rooster tails, when we were fishing back then in the late 90s, I'd say maybe the early to mid 90s actually, they were about 99 cents a piece. Let's just say they've gone up in price a little bit, but I mean, so does everything. And these are one of my favorite lures right here. This one, green on one side and orange on the other side. Actually, that one's pink, so this is the one I was referring to. So it's green on one side, yellow, and then orange and speckled. And this little piece of metal right here, I guess they call it the spoon, it spins around, and then you have a little chartreuse skirt here with a hook. This one works very well during overcast days. For some reason, that and anything with chartreuse, the fish really go crazy for. If that doesn't work, you can go for a purple one that's similar to this. But the ones that we really liked, and they were harder to find, it was a red skirt, and the shaft was silver, and the spinner was silver. And what we would do is, if we found them, we reach all the way back to the back here and pull the whole thing into our little hand basket. So if we grab a dozen, we grab a dozen. That was 12 bucks back then, but a dozen nowadays would be 48 bucks. It's a pretty good sized tank here. I would say that's about 3 inches there, 3-4 inches. So those fish aren't going anywhere, and there's probably a tremendous amount of water pressure there. And these fish will just lead the rest of their lives here in this big tank and become just monsters of fish, including that one. That boy right there is as big as me. I love the sound of the waterfall. Even though this one's an artificial one, still very relaxing. Right next to where all the lures and plastic worms and all that are, there's a big cooking and camping section. And they got a little bit of everything here for you. If I lived right next to the lake, I would definitely want to get one of these little kayaks. I'd like to keep this in my little winter kit, little camp set, something that's biodegradable and it's not harmful for the environment. All the games you can have at a campground, including the bean bags for cornhole. Cornhole is a big game here in Texas. In fact, here's a cornhole set right here. Basically a beanbag toss. But there is a professional cornhole league. Last year in February, we had a pretty wicked winter storm that hit here. It's not normal for us to have weather like that. It got down to -8, and I know that's normal for a lot of y'all, -8 Fahrenheit, but it was not for us. We don't have the infrastructure to handle it. In fact, much of the power grid went down as a result of it, and several people went without power for a week or so. In fact, we had over 200 fatalities as a result of that storm. So one of the things I need to do better is to be better prepared at home, as well as be prepared on the road, but especially at home. I do have a Coleman heater that runs off a little green propane canister. It's just not that warm, and the canister runs out overnight, so you'll get cold pretty quick. Or in the middle of the night, I had to wake up and change the canister out. Nice cold, wet canister. But this is one of the things that I am actually looking into buying. This is the portable buddy heater from Mr. Heater, and this is the smaller one. They actually have one that has 2 of the heating grids that are in there, and it does a pretty good job. I'm pretty impressed with it, but they are pricey. I mean, I'm looking here, and it's $70 for this one, and I don't see the bigger one out here. They may have it in a different section of the store. If not, they do sell them at Academy and a lot of other stores, and of course online. But it's something to think about. If you're going to be without power, you need some type of heat source, and you need to make sure it's going to be indoor safe like these are. If you're going to run something like that, you need to have a carbon monoxide alarm nearby. I remember these being $1.49 a canister. That is $5.99 for a single canister. They got plenty of these freeze-dried meals here. They have more down on this aisle over here. But one of my favorite ones is the breakfast skillet. That is pretty darn good. For something you just pour a little water, hot water in and stir it up. It does pretty well. In fact, I think I have 4 of those meals in my winter car kit. And that's for for whenever we get stranded out there. I do keep a case of water, some plastic water bottles, I know, but at least it's something in my car just in case we get stranded out somewhere. It's also important to put blankets in your car, food, hygiene products. One thing you might not think about, toilet paper. You're gonna be stranded for 24 hours, you need toilet paper. That is essential. Here's another thing to think about, medical kits, first aid kits. I keep one in my car. That's a pretty decent little $20 comprehensive kit. But have a kit that you can take with you when you're hiking. What good is having a medical kit in your car when you're a mile away from your car? So just think about having portable packs that you can take with you. We're nowhere near bears in this part of North Texas, but we do have bear spray. I don't believe bear spray is as powerful as the little portable pepper spray cans that you get. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. They also have bear bells. We can tie this to your shoe or on your person, and as you walk, it rings. But what's nice is it's got a little silencer here too. Even if it's not as powerful as the portable pepper spray, it's a lot more of it, and that's what you need for a bear, I would imagine. I don't know. I've never really dealt with bears. I've seen bears. I saw a bear one time in the wild, and it was a mother with her cub, and I kept my distance. It was really cool though. That was outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was just talking to one of the store employees about the heaters here, and he said they have some on order, maybe here next Monday. Of course, today is Saturday that I'm filming this. But he said you can order them online, and if you got a few days to spare there. But I think everybody learned their lesson last year, and this year, the little bit of freeze that we had got our attention, so it's worth being prepared. Another thing to consider is thermals, and they're lightweight, midweight, heavyweight. The heavyweights are kind of pricey though. $30 for each piece, and you got to have 2 pieces, so that would be $60. But you know what? If you're cold, you're cold. Now I do follow a YouTube channel, and I'm gonna give them a little shout out here called Star and Daniel, and it's a couple up in Canada, and they are actually camping out in the back of their pickup truck. They set it up with a little bed and a little makeshift kitchen, and pretty impressive. They even put a little diesel heater in the back that's roasting them out. But the weather outside where they're camping is 40 below zero, and that is Fahrenheit and Celsius combined. That's where the two numbers will match up. That is cold. That puts our -8 to shame. But I'm curious, Star and Daniel, what do you do as part of your thermal setup with your clothing? I think y'all have a lot to teach us. Okay, $30 ain't much apparently. Look at this. Military grade, $85. Holy cow. You go down here, if you want the one with the logo on it, $90. I just want to stay warm. So one of the brands they have out here is Redhead, which is a for hunting. And I actually, my first set of camouflage was a Redhead. This obviously is not camouflage. This is safety orange, and this is required if you're hunting on public lands in the state of Texas. Other states they require you to wear it if you're hunting, period. So this particular one, if you are on private land or a hunting lease, you don't have to wear them. But it's a good idea to wear something like this if you have a potential of seeing somebody else that you don't know in your area. And my first hunting camo pattern was True Timber, which is pretty nice. It's kind of like the Realtree Edge, but it's a little darker, I think. And I don't have boots to match it. I do have Realtree boots, and they work just fine. But I have another set of camo that I bought from Walmart just to get on the cheap, but I got a pretty good sale at Cabela's for my first set. I think it's just the cool redneck thing to do. Not really redneck unless you got some camo. I was a little worried there, but I thought we were out of camo, but we got plenty more. In fact, I have this hat right here, $6 hat, and I learned a little trick. Didn't mean for it to happen, but I wore this hat inside of a Shields. The manager came over and said, "You can't wear a Cabela's hat in here." He gave me a new hat. And I want to say this is the real tree that I have, the Silent Hide. It's a nice thick layer there. And what's really nice about this stuff is when you were climbing around, you got into some thorn vines. It did absolutely nothing to this clothing. You can even see where the thorns were trying to tear into the clothing. I'm not sure if y'all watch that A&E television show, but they do have Duck Commander here. Lots of archery equipment. Never been bow hunting. I've actually only been hunting once, didn't get anything. It's more about getting out there, being with friends. I'm not one to go hunting by myself. Even though I fish by myself, it's just so much more fun to fish with friends, or just do anything with friends. When I was younger, we did go to the archery range. We had one there by us, but we were just using single reflex bows and maybe one compound bow. Nothing like that they have in the technology of these bows. But I just remember doing that when I was a kid. I did a little bit in college as well. Just target practice. Seeing if I can hit the target. If you're looking for hearing protection, I got a set of Walkers, razor ones, and they are the digital ones. It's not this exact one. It was more of a different camo powder on it, but it is very nice. If you get a loud sound, it shuts down completely. But what's nice about it is if you're in nature, you can actually listen to the nature around you, and it's wide open. And if it's a little cold outside, it keeps your ears warm. But what's neat also is that they have these little radios you can attach to them. I think these are probably FRS frequencies. But it's nice if you're in one stand, somebody's in another stand, you can still talk to each other and let each other know where you're at, just for safety's sake and keep you company. I had an instructor tell me, use headsets that will completely cover your ear. There's a little bone that's behind your ear called the mastoid bone. And it's got little pockets in there to help you hear kind of your surround sound area. So if you're just using the earplugs, that area is still exposed. So you can still have hearing loss if you're around loud noises. So get the full coverage for your ear. It's much safer for you. Oh, that is cool. This is for babies. Not that you're going to be taking them hunting, but if you go to a concert or any outdoor venue setup, definitely worth having something like that for them. Protect them when they're young. And yes, they have guns, 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 and more guns here. This is Texas after all. So here's my gun safety speech. If you haven't been around firearms, don't think you know what you're doing. The movies are completely ignorant about guns. Be safe around them, take courses, learn from somebody else that really knows what they're talking about. I've taken firearms training and even taken hunter safety courses. It's important. They are a tool. They can be dangerous, just like a hammer can. So just be careful around them. And don't be afraid of them. They're not evil. They're just an inanimate object. Be smart about it. If you're hearing gunfire earlier, I promise you there wasn't a gun battle going, but it's a big old shooting gallery. This is all for fun. And this looks like it's changed quite a bit since I've last been out here. One thing I don't want to get into this channel with is religion and politics. That's not the purpose of this channel. It doesn't mean that I don't have beliefs or political leanings. It just means it's not for this channel. But I will address one thing with gun violence, and I know that's a big political hot topic. And I do know that there's gun violence no matter if there's huge strict gun laws or even lax gun laws. And I'm not going to get into the dynamics of that, or you know, how more gun laws may increase gun violence. Not the point of this channel. But the one thing I will say is we all need to learn how to love one another more. And I think that's going to curb a lot of that issue. With that, I'm going to shut up on that topic. And one thing we do have in Texas is a lot of crocs. I mean, a lot of crocs. All kinds of crocs. We got the pre crocs, we got the bare naked crocs. we got Crocs. Unless you're in hunting, you probably are not familiar with these, but these are snake boots, and they're very thick, very hard for teeth to get through there. But you start climbing around some of the grasslands around here, you're going to need a good pair of snake boots. One of the things that is important is get a good pair of socks. Wool socks is recommended for cold weather around here, and the reason for wool socks is when you have cotton socks on, even thick cotton, they're nice and warm until you get a little bit of dampness in it. If you get a little bit of water, moisture, your sweat, you name it, it loses its insulation value. Wool, when it's wet, does not lose its insulation value. In fact, they dry a lot quicker. I don't recommend running them in or drying them in a dryer. I usually hang dry mine after washing them, but get yourself some wool socks. It'll make a difference. They do sell a wide variety of shoes here. They got running boots, or running boots, boots, work boots, hiking boots, and even running shoes and water shoes. The nicer water shoes are basically like tennis shoes, so you can have them in the water and they drain out completely afterwards. It's just not the cheap ones. They got little holes and everything to drain the water out. I get myself a pair of these. It's be nice to have when you're out and about in the woods and you find a creek you want to crawl through. They also have different types of clothing to go with it as well. And that might be a hat I could be interested in right there. Get the sun off of you. So this is all fishing gear, fishing clothing rather. Nice, lightweight, takes care of you in the summer heat. Ooh, sparkly. They do sell a lot of Triton boats there. I think the Cabela side was selling Ranger boats. But I'm not sure that's still the case anymore. So these are beautiful, beautiful boats. So they're still selling ATVs. I was talking to an employee here. He said they still have them. That area over there was cleared out for a holiday party that they're going to have. But some of these are monsters for an ATV. I don't see any side-by-sides in stock right now, but they do have their little boats here. Speaking of little, look at that little 16-foot bass buggy. I'm hoping we're going to have another boat or RV show here because I'd like to take you along. I enjoy going to those, even though I really can't afford a lot of these boats. The sparkling one that I was showing you earlier is over $71,000 US, so you can drop some coin on these things. Let's check out this Nitro Z19 just for an example here. See what the price on this is. Any guesses? It's actually a lot cheaper. It's on a 57,305. They have all the stuff to go along with the boats. These are pretty cool. If you've never been around a lake, you can actually put those behind your boat and it floats. It's just a big floating pad that you can lay out on. Well, that's Bass Pro Shops. Many of you have already been here, so you've already seen it, but it's worth a little field trip every now and then to see what's new. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. We'll really appreciate that. And also comment. Every interaction you have with this channel helps my channel and gets my channel out there more. Big favor though, if you're watching this, please subscribe. I really would appreciate that. That not only helps you know when the new videos are coming out, but it helps me out too. The more subscribers the better, and the more exposure I can get with this channel. I really do want to grow this. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun doing it. But for now, y'all take care, be safe, bye.